Before we get started, I'd like to briefly explain my Chakra 7 energy point spread so you have a more fulfilling reading. The three cards on the left are the unconscious inner self. The card in the center is the heart. And the three cards on the right are the conscious foreself. The card on the bottom left is the base of your spine. It's a combination of many things from past lives to tragic to cherished childhood memories. Up to today, we're always culling things and bringing new things, and we're always evolving. And that's why I'm calling it sourcing and urgings instead of foundation, as you would find in the Celtic cross. The second card up is the pelvic or sacrum, and I'm considering this awakening or arousing. This is where your spiritual awakening is, and growth of all kinds, and also includes your sexual prowess. This can be cosmic life breath. The cosmos has natural laws that live in harmony, but we don't always live in harmony with them. Top left is the solar plexus, or what I consider sensing and feelings. This is where you get those gut feelings about something when they're right or wrong. This is also a universal life force contrary to a cosmic life breath, because this is where conflict and chaos ensues in our life. The center is the heart of the matter or the situation. We're always asking questions. Why did this happen? What's going to happen next? What's going on? I don't understand. You could bounce this heart of the matter off between your unconscious and conscious self and maybe have more understanding what's going on. The card on the bottom right is your throat, and what I'm considering is teachings and communicating. It has to do with what you've learned in your life and how you're accepting society and how you're going into it. Are you living a very conservative, orthodox life, or are you living more of a new wave, do what you want kind of life? Second card up is considered the third eye, and it's seeing and envisioning. It's more of bringing things out of a linear to a three-dimensional perspective. The third eye is our pineal gland in the center of our brain, and it's activated by light, so this can also be considered enlightenment. The card on the top right is the crown, or knowing and understanding. You can have a lot of knowledge, but if you cannot apply it wisely, it's not wisdom. Then I'll be putting a card on the left to represent the past, and a card on the right to represent the future. And underneath each card, each main card, is a miniature Rider-Waite for clarification. I'm going to do something a little bit different here now because the readings become very stressful and draining to me because I have two lamps on my right side that I have to maneuver by. I have the computer and all the wires on the left. I've got a camera in front of me, and I'm trying to talk into a stationary microphone. And then I have to have monkey arms to be able to reach all the cards and manipulate the cards, and at the same time I'm trying to do the reading. And I just don't think I've been giving good readings because of this, so I'm just going to spread out all the cards, and I'll do subtitles where necessary so you don't get lost, and I think this will really enhance my readings. Hi there, Pisces. Welcome to the Winds of Jupiter, March 2017 Tarot Reading. At the base of your spine for urgings and sourcing, receive the Two of Swords. It's about the dual nature of conflicting but equal forces. They're contradictory burdens that have your head emotionally spinning. Even though the card is swords, it's still about emotions. She has her hands crossed in front of her heart chakra. Number 2 card indicates decision. And she's torn between these two forces that are paralyzing her heart and mind. It's like she's transcending into denial. The question is, are you being deceived or are you deceiving yourself? Are you ignoring blinding truths? This is causing an internal crisis that's prompting you to make a decision because you're feeling hurt and trapped and in the middle of some type of dilemma that is seeking a resolution. Now, the clarification card is reinforcing a difficult decision because it's the Seven of Cups. Each cup holds its own imagined or real poison or pleasure. And you're wondering which one should you choose and which one should you lose? This is forcing you to analyze your level of happiness and sparking soul searching. Soul searching is a very painful exercise. It's also making you question what you really want in life and what will make you happy. Because you're feeling some kind of void that has to be filled. And it's also warning you to make a good and wise decision. But make a decision because some type of resolution has to happen here for you to go back into a comfort zone. Now up in the pelvic and sacrum, for your awakening and your arousing, receive the Wheel of Fortune. Your life is on an upswing. The fates of fortune are on your side, but I'm kind of feeling like some fortuitous event happened, but you didn't really recognize it when it happened. But as time went on, it started to explode into something that turned out very fortunate for you in your life. And you started to spiritually and physically grow. And the clarification card is the Seven of Wands, and it's saying, you succeeded, you're up on the hill, but you're battling these petty people below you. When you succeed, a lot of times people are jealous and envious. And they want to scrutinize you and find something wrong. So even though they're looking up at you, a lot of times they want to look down at you and find something wrong. And you seem to have to defend yourself. And this is one of the negative aspects of success and accomplishments. A lot of times the people you're battling weren't even willing to put the time and effort into success. Up in your solar plexus and your feeling and sensing, it's the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is kind of a fickle card, a strange card for a new beginnings, because you have the choice between healing and harming or kindness and malice. It's up to you and your free will to utilize things to your benefit and other people's benefit, because the sword can cut through the crap and get to the bottom of things, or it can be like the sickle of the Grim Reaper where it hurts people and it's a sharp stabbing pains that you give people. But here in the clarification card is the Three of Pentacles. It's the Architect card. It's the building card. So you have the intentions of building. And I always think of this as a teamwork card where everybody's kind of on the same sheet of music. But here I'm kind of thinking that what's more prominent is that you've accumulated some skills, some talents maybe that you haven't utilized for a long time or never have utilized in certain ways. And now you're going to go forward using these talents. Now here in the heart of the matter, in the center, is the Ten of Pentacles. You're comfortable. It can even be considered the retirement card, but you've prospered. You're content. But it's not only prosperity there, it's posterity. Is that you're going to be handing things down to the other generations. And it's not only money or material things. A lot of times you become the master and the teacher of these younger people. And they then can pass on these talents that you're teaching them. But 10 is an ending and new beginning card. So now you're ending a cycle. Even when you retire, you end up picking up new hobbies and doing a lot of different things that you never did before. And this is reinforced also by the clarification card, which is the death card. You have a lot of things going on here, new beginnings. The death card is, transformation. And it's throwing out things that aren't serving you anymore. It's a rebirth. And you have to remember that change, is not your enemy. But if you resist change, there will be loss. And things happen for a reason, and the death card as well as the devil card are predestined cards. It's going to happen anyway. Even if you kick and scream, it's still going to happen. The death card is like a beacon to conclusions. And it's a freedom card. You're the phoenix rising from the egg-shaped ball of myrrh that went into flames. And it's transitioning you into a new chapter in your life. And that can be very cathartic. Now in the throat, what I'm calling communicating and teachings, receive the Chariot. The Chariot's a lot of different things. It's discipline and strength and willpower, but it's also of a spiritual evolution, as seeking spiritual awakening. It's victory, overcoming opposition. It's confidence and control and self-control. You have to learn how to curb your desires. All of the cards from 0 up to the Chariot 7 are pretty much about the nature of man. And here this is really the apex of the nature of man, is that we have to discipline ourselves. We have to be able to have self-control. And confidence is a really big thing too, is because if you don't have confidence, sometimes there's worse consequences than making a bad decision. It's also a card of movement, moving forward. You're going away from material things and seeking more spiritual stuff, but it can also govern travel and modes of transportation. So keep that in mind for the remainder of the month. Now the clarification card is the Tower. A lot of things have happened. You've got endings and new beginnings written all over this, and decisions. And this Tower, to me, represents more of a release and divine forces bringing enlightenment from the lightning. We've all learned from our mistakes, and all of a sudden there's a sudden change in circumstances, and this could be you going from one unconscious level to a more conscious level. There's a lot of things going on with the Tower, but even if there was setbacks, which is anticipated in life, a lot of times setbacks make you rethink things, and then you proceed with more confidence, and you have more of a renewal and rebuilding happening. Now in the third eye, what I call seeing and envisioning, you see the Five of Wands. There's been conflict. We saw that even in the Seven of Wands by the Wheel of Fortune. There's always conflict in life, and you have to ameliorate this conflict. But the clarification card is the Four of Swords, and I find that is more emphasizing in my mind when I'm looking at this. because it's a respite from challenging difficulties. And you're in a retreat right now. And in the old and medieval days, the knights were required to buy their tomb before they went out on military campaigns. And here now the knight is laying on his own tomb wondering why he survived and other of his companions died. So it's a time out to look at things from a subjective view to a more objective view. Here in the Five of Wands, people were battling each other, and now he's wondering, was I right? Were they right? Or were we both kind of right and wrong? And he's reflecting and putting things in more of a perspective. When I see this card, many times I think about that. It's so funny that you understand people's motives, but you don't understand why people have these motives. And here too, you know, the hatchet isn't buried. He's only in a respite, and he's got to go back out in life and discover his purpose of life. Now here in the crown, in what I consider knowing and understanding, receive the Empress, and I'm going to say the clarification card, the Emperor, because this is like the balance of yin and yang. You know, you've got the Empress giving out her heartfelt emotions and nurturing nature, whereas the Emperor is balancing it out with his logical thinking. You can think of this as also Mother Earth and Father Time. And it's a harmony. And I think you've found some type of harmony in between making decisions and finding balance in your life. Over on the left is the Lover's card. It's a very good card for Pisces. You're a very sensitive sign. You know, you make choices from the heart. And you're like deep water. It either hides turbulence or tranquility. And your life has had a lot of ups and downs, and there's been a lot of decisions that have caused turbulence and others that have caused tranquility. And all of these decisions have influenced your life and have really culminated into your beliefs and values and what's right and wrong, and knowing the consequences involved in making the wrong decisions. I think I have a lot of respect for Pisces. I have a very close relative that's a Pisces, and her quiet, unintrusive, remote manner attracts people. But the reason that they're attracted is because her beauty from within comes out, and they can see that. And I think that's a lot of Pisces are like that. But the Lover's card too is the spiritual versus physical. So Neptune rules Pisces, and a lot of times you can go into a dreamy nature. So you really have to make sure that you take your rose-colored glasses off when you're making decisions. And I think that's where sometimes in the past you've made some decisions in more of a fantasy, dreamy world. But here in the future card, it's saying your feet are on the ground. You got the Three of Wands. You know, Three of Wands is motion, expansion, growth, planning, taking ideas and putting them into reality. So I think there's going to be a lot of good things coming, stable things between emotion and your material self that's going to bring all this out, because you're willing to do the work. You're going to be the architect. You're going to be the builder. Now the Enduring Virtue card, messages from the angels, is patience. You see the name underneath the Death card in the center. Now is the time to learn, study, and gather information. Enjoy being a student because in the future you will synthesize your knowledge into action. And I see that too, is because there's been a lot of new beginnings, transformation, and change going on, a positive change. And I wish you acceptance, peace, and happiness.